Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to LAFS, Life as a Foreign Student show brought to you by the Ray Consultants in cooperation with the Ray Creatives, where we are discussing life as a foreign student, and we are going to be seeing all the perspective, experience, and all the exposures that foreign students have been going through their lives during that time of their studies in those foreign lands. And today in the show, we have a beautiful lady with a beautiful story of more than 15 years away from her country, and she's going to be telling us how she managed to survive 15 years away from her home country, and now she has a very good success story of which she's willing and ready to share with us. So tell a friend to also join LAFS family by following us on our social media platforms. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hassan Darey Hassan Darey, where you'll be the first one to be notified whenever we upload a new episode. And before I welcome my guests, please tell a friend like LAFS is already on air. And right now, right here, we are going to be enjoying a beautiful experience, a beautiful story by a lady called Veroy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me well, and I can hear you very, very well.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
How's Uganda?
Uganda is fine. Uganda is good. We're in the festive season. It's too hot, actually. It's too sunny. It's too hot. Yes.
Wow. So you're enjoying the equatorial sun.
Yes. Sure.
First of all, I want to thank you so very much for your time to agree to talk to us as LAFS Family Life as a Foreign Student podcast, where we are sharing all our experiences as foreign students. And I do understand that you are one of those students that have stayed away from their countries of origin. Like, I know you're from Tanzania and you have been in Uganda for more than 15 years?
Yes, more than 15 years.
More than 15 years. So right here, we're going to look at least how you have done those more than 15 years away from your country and how has your life changed. So first of all, I want to ask you, like, I just know you as Veroy Nchillah. Let us know who's Veroy.
Veroy Nchillah was born in Tanzania, and in around 2005, she moved to Uganda to acquire education, primary level, secondary level, and later went to university at Makerere University. That's why I acquired my bachelor's degree in social sciences. But in general, she's someone who is smart, hardworking, beautiful, and so focused, achieving her goals.
Beautiful, so focused and in achieving her goals. I very well know, like, you are one of those ladies that I do appreciate you, and I do congratulate you because you're one of those girls that I used to know those days when we met in Uganda in some years ago, yeah? And
yes,
at first, when I saw you, I couldn't tell, like, you're one of the Tanzanians because the first time I saw you, actually, I saw you speaking Luganda. And I was like, she's a Muganda. Probably she's not a Tanzanian because most of the Tanzanians that I found there were speaking, if not English, just Swahili. But you are so fluent in Luganda. Tell me about it.
Yes.
How did you manage to entertain yourself into the Ugandan culture up to knowing the language? You used to be like a real Muganda as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, actually, I've been here for some time and I've been able to connect with the Ugandans. So for now, the only language that I was able to know or to understand very well is Luganda. Though Uganda has a lot of cultures, they speak different languages, different tribes, and since where I have been or where I have started from, it's the central part of Uganda and they speak Luganda. So it was easy to learn Luganda since I've been bonding well, mixing well, making friends with the Baganda. Let's call them Baganda, which are found in the central part of Uganda. So for now, that's the language that I was able to understand and learn. Yes.
Take us through, like, Uganda. You're from Tanzania, and in 2005 is when you went to Uganda, and you have been there since. Going to Uganda, how did it come about?
Going to Uganda, it was the idea of my parents, which was given to them by a family friend who had brought a kid to Uganda. So they advised my parents to do the same, and that's how I ended up being brought to Uganda in 2005. That's basically the idea of parents.
Wow, so you went to Uganda when you were so young. Which grade were you?
Yeah. Actually, my story is so surprising because I studied 2 classes in 1 year. I started P2 and P3 in 2005. I would go to, I remember I was supposed actually to be in P3, but when they brought me here, they took me back to P2. So I started one term P2, then I would switch to P3, P2, P3. So until when they just decided me to let me be in P3, and if I wouldn't be able to get good grades, I would have to repeat a class. But thank God I was able to make good grades and I was promoted to another class. So that's how it happened.
So you went to Uganda, promoted to another class, as from P3 to P2, then P3 again. Why do you think, like, your parents would be so eager to take the advice that they should take you to Uganda, and they were just like, okay, let's take her to Uganda?
By then, I think the main reason as to why they were convinced is because they thought Uganda, I could acquire better education in Uganda. I could go to better schools in Uganda. I'm not saying that they didn't have better schools. They had better schools because I was from an English medium school. But they believed that here there was better education. And I think that was the reason as to why they wanted to bring me here. But right now, I think to them, I don't think they buy the idea anymore, because as you can see, most of my siblings haven't come to Uganda. They're not bringing any other kids to Uganda. First of all, my mom believes that she didn't raise me. I was raised by the society. In the society, I mean, she didn't take part in my upbringing. I was raised by teachers, matrons, people around, guardians. So I turned out to be a great person, right? But she still believes it would be much better if she had raised me. You know, my mom sometimes she feels she doesn't know me very well. You don't know your daughter very well. Sometimes me too, maybe I don't know my parents very well. You know, when you've not raised your daughter, even when you meet them, you feel you don't know them very well. So she thinks maybe I'm too quiet to always talk to her about anything, or not open, like I always keep things at heart in case of a problem or what, and maybe I don't talk to her and tell her. Maybe it has broken the bond of mother and daughter, or daughter and dad relationship. The bond is not there. Like there is a gap between me and my parents, unlike my other siblings who have been there with them, raised by them, and I've always been seeing them. In case of anything, it's easy to approach them and so on. But to me, she feels there is a big gap between me and them because I was raised by the society. She didn't raise me.
Raised by the society, she didn't raise you. It is so hard. It is so hard to ignore this question. And I want to ask you this. You just spoke about the relationship between you and your parents, you and your family. How often were you going back to your family or to your country during holidays, for instance?
The relationship between me and my parents, like I said before, there is a very big gap. The bond has been broken, and you know, when you grow far away from parents for long, and you end up not bonding the same way that if you had been close to them. And how often I've been going home. When I first came to Uganda, when I was still a kid, it was very hard to, the education system of Uganda, we had 3 terms, whereby we would have the big break in December, but short holidays between the 2 terms. So, I mean the 3 terms. So, I wasn't going home. I had to stay in school for a full year, and I would go home only in December. Then, as time went, things changed. I had to go home every time because it was very hard for me to cope up. No matter how much I spent almost 2 years, it was still very hard. It took me a very long time to cope up with Uganda because I remember when I was in school, I used to be homesick. When I'm in school, I get sick. When they take me back home in Tanzania, I feel better. It was just missing the environment, the home environment. Sometimes, when you're depressed, stressed as a kid, you can easily fall sick.
Speaking of homesick, you're one of those people, like you said, you used to go home once a year till when the situation went rough and you decided to be going every time. How hard was it for you? How hard was it for you to stay away from your parents for that while? A whole year for a kid is quite a long time to stay away from your parents. How did you manage?
It was very hard. Very, very hard. I hope parents who get to hear this, they should be very close to them or looking after them closely. Because, you see, as a kid, there are a lot of things that happen. Sometimes you find yourself falling sick. Sometimes you find there are a lot of things. You miss home and you miss your parents because that age is the age whereby a kid gets to understand the love of a mother, the love of a parent. And it's not there. So it tortures them a lot. Mentally, they get me that tortured and be like, okay. There are a lot of times I cried a lot, by the way, for my mother. I want to go back home. I want my mom. And the only thing that would just maybe tell me, go to class, you're going home tomorrow. You come back to the dormitories, you pack your things, knowing tomorrow you're going home. At the end of the day, nothing. You're not going home and you continue like that. So it was very hard to adjust. So just imagine it became very hard to adjust until a kid starts getting homesick. And what I think actually the only thing that I can say is I thank that school so much, the people who were there, because at one point they got to know me better. They got to know this kid is not sick because maybe she's suffering from something, but no, she's homesick. So we have to provide a conducive environment for her here to feel she's not lacking, to feel. So I was able to manage for the remaining time in the school because they had to provide a conducive environment for me not to feel that I'm in a foreign country. I don't have parents. Like someone had to play a role of a father figure. Someone had to play a role of a mother figure. Be like, you know what? She's from far. She's a Tanzanian. So the only thing that is going to make her feel better is playing a role of a father figure or playing a role of a mother figure. So in that case, I was able to cope up and finish primary level.
Wow, and I cannot say much, but just appreciate those patrons and matrons who did play the role of a father and a mother to you while you're so young and you're claiming that love that you couldn't get at that time. You finished your primary school. Now you went to secondary school, still in Uganda.
Yes.
So primary school, how many years did you do primary school in Uganda?
Around 4 years.
4 years. So
5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
Like 5 years. Continuing with secondary school, whose idea was it?
Actually, it was both the idea of me and my parents. We discussed about it because I remember even when I was after my primary education, we had planned I should go back to TZ. So when we went home, actually my father said she's not going to manage the changing systems, from one country to another. So it's better for her to continue and she'll be able to adapt. So that's how I came up to continue here. Because my father told me, you won't be able to adapt to the education system of Tanzania. So it's better you continue there because that's where I started from at primary level, which I accepted. But again, I don't know how I found difficult in adapting secondary life when I had first joined secondary. So it's very hard for me. Then when I was actually in senior one, it was very hard for me because remember when I was in primary, someone had to play a role of a mother figure and a father figure for me to feel that, okay, I'm not missing anything, I'm not lacking. First of all, the people around me who love me, so it's okay even if mom is not around. But when I went to secondary, it was different. So adapting to the new school, and there is no one playing the role of mother, father figure. And but later on, I came to adapt. You know what? When I completed senior 4, I already got used to the country, and I'd already adapted everything. The environment was okay for me, and I felt like it's okay right now. I can continue with other levels of education in Uganda because I'd already adapted everything. Everything was okay for me by that time. Yeah.
So you adapted yourself and you established yourself in Uganda, and now you're used to the Ugandan lifestyle. How hard was it for you to adapt to the Ugandan culture? I'm very sure that many people might not know this, but Uganda is one of those countries which are very culturally diversified internally. Like in Uganda, you might find 3 languages spoken, and same Ugandans don't understand each other. Unlike Tanzania, where you might find multiple tribes or multiple cultures, but we are united. Because I'm one of the Tanzanians, we are united by speaking Swahili, which is the common language which everybody understands. How hard was it for you to cope in that environment, as you are in Uganda, a foreigner, and now you're meeting Ugandans who cannot communicate with themselves?
Actually, what I know in Uganda is, however much they don't have a uniform language, unlike Tanzania, whereby that's Swahili. They try to put Swahili in Uganda, but I don't know how far it has gone. But what I know is that most Ugandans have studied. So most Ugandans can at least speak English. The majority can speak English. Then maybe the minority cannot speak English. And when you look at me being here in Uganda, it was easy for me to bond well with the Ugandans, however much they are from different ethnic groups or different cultures, is because for the time I've been in Uganda, like I said, I've been in the central Uganda, whereby there is the tribe of the Baganda, meaning they speak Luganda. So I was able to adapt the Luganda language and to understand. And another thing that has really helped me is English. We can communicate in that way. Then, as long as I'm able to communicate with the majority, you can bond well with the cultures and everything. I've not been able maybe to try other parts of Uganda and see, because I know most parts of Uganda, there are some people that don't even speak Luganda, they speak their languages and they don't even know English. But for the time that I've lived in central Uganda, I think it has been easy for me to bond well with them because the most spoken languages here, I'm able to speak and understand.
So 2000 something, I met you in Kampala, and that's where we got to know each other. And now I'm learning that you have been in several schools. How many schools have you been to in Uganda?
3 schools and 1 university.
3 schools, 1 university. I just want to know, like, what do you think Ugandan academic system different? How is it different from the Tanzanian education system? Because most parents would prefer to send their kids from Tanzania to Uganda. Why do you think many Tanzanians would go to Uganda and not elsewhere?
One of the biggest reasons I can say is first of all, Uganda is one of the African countries that has got the cheapest education compared to other East African countries. I think that's why it has pushed many parents to send their kids to Uganda. And like I said, there are a lot of reasons behind that. Because for me, like I said earlier, some people maybe believe Uganda, you can acquire better education. Some people believe maybe like it's cheap. And another thing, like I told, another thing that has maybe pushed people to come to Uganda, in the societies we live in, parents think when, for example, how Tanzania education is very strict. So a lot of people have failed in TZ and have come to Uganda. It's because Uganda has got, I think, schools that are based on, they are business schools that are only after, and I don't think they're really after grades and so on. So there are different kinds of schools. I'm sure they are there in any other East African countries, but I think some parents also want to remove the shame. For example, your daughter or son has failed, so you prefer taking them to another country so that you bury away the shame that maybe my kid didn't perform well. Other kids are going to good schools and what. So the moment you tell your colleagues or your friends that my kid is studying in Uganda, it will make you seem superior and be like, okay, maybe your kid didn't really fail, but you just try to change the atmosphere by taking them to another country. And yeah, those are some of the reasons.
You have been in Uganda, you said primary, secondary, and now university. You just graduated. How has your life changed you as a person?
Actually, my life has changed in a lot of ways. First of all, due to the diversity, I've been able to experience new tastes and new experiences in this country. Because right now, I can actually live in the 3 East African countries, maybe even more, because at least not even more, maybe, because while studying in Uganda or while staying in Uganda, I've made a lot of friends, new friends from different countries. Sudan, Uganda is full of foreigners. So Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, and I've learned that we all coordinate. First of all, we have a common language, that's Swahili. And we coordinate in a lot of ways. I think the things I've achieved is new tests and new experiences. And
let me ask you, in terms of making friendships, like how hard or how easy was it for you to make friends, or how easy was it for you to have relationships with those people that are coming from other cultures, that are coming from other nations?
It was not very hard for me, I can say that, because first of all, there is one thing that unites most of the East African countries, and that's the language Swahili. So since I'm from a Swahili nation, it has been very easy to communicate to others. For example, it's easy to communicate to someone from Rwanda, Burundi, Sudan, And some people here in Uganda, Kenya, because that's what connects us. And then I was able to learn English, which also many people speak. And another thing also, understand Luganda, which here people speak. So it hasn't been very hard for me to make friends while here in Uganda, because I think I didn't have any problems with language barrier. Though I had them when I just come, but for now I think it's making it easier for me to bond well with Ugandans and other in terms of that.
So you didn't have any problem socializing with people. You didn't have any problem making friends or making new friends. And as I could hear, you just spoke of those other countries. What about the locals? How were the locals viewing you, or how were the locals taking you as far as you're a Tanzanian, a foreigner to them?
What I can say, you see, Uganda is divided. Uganda is divided politically and also in terms of tribes. People are divided here. And but what I've noticed with Ugandans are very hospitable to foreigners. Ugandans like foreigners because that's how I've noticed. You may find it's not easy to bond maybe for the Ugandans from one tribe to another or from one political party to another. It's very hard for people to come up together and maybe be friends or bond or mix up. But when it comes to a foreigner, because I don't know, I found it easy that Ugandans love foreigners. They are very hospitable with foreigners, by the way. Yeah. So I think that's why it made it easy for them to accept me, and I felt they're so hospitable.
Earlier on when we were speaking, you told me like now you feel Uganda is like your home because you no longer feel the vibe whenever you go to Tanzania. When was the last time you went to Tanzania?
2019.
2019, and today is 2021. How has it been? How easy was it for you to just say, you know what? I feel like I'm just gonna make Uganda my home. I'm just gonna make Uganda a part of me.
It was not easy. It has never been easy. Very hard, by the way. Very hard starting a life in a foreign country. But when you're focused, when you have a vision and you believe in God, anything can happen and everything can happen. Everything is possible. But it was not easy. You know, being in school is very different being out of school. Being in school, you're guided. There is financial support. But when you're out of school, you're not guided. You're on your own. And you have to make your ways through the streets and the country. And it's not easy to. I came to believe there are two different things. You know, when you're in school, you may not know what's happening outside the world. But when you face the world, it's very different. So it has not been easy, but when you're focused and you have a vision, I think anything is possible.
It has not been easy. And I cannot help it but ask you, what are the challenges that you have been facing in Uganda as a Tanzanian, as a foreign student, and now as a foreign, as a diaspora? Let me call you a diaspora, if you allow me to, because you just told me you graduated from school and you decided to remain in Uganda, and now you're a diaspora, a foreigner living in Uganda. What are the challenges that you have been facing?
Actually, when you're done with school, the biggest aim a person has is to find a job, right? A stable job. And here in Uganda, I think there are a lot of challenges finding a job when you're foreigner. It's not easy to employ a foreigner because of security. You know, most people fear employing foreigners because of security, maybe They're not able to track where they come from exactly. They're not able to, in case of anything. So it's not easy. And another thing, the COVID-19 outbreak also favored a lot of places whereby we were just done with campus and we're looking for maybe jobs and what, and you find most companies are laying off workers. So even if you would get a chance to get employed, imagine they're laying off workers and the workers are Ugandan. So it's very hard to favor a foreigner and leave someone of their own citizen, of their own country. That's how it has been hard. So
Uganda, I know Uganda as one of those countries which, in terms of security, they're not so stable as per se. And correct me if I'm wrong, but how safe is Uganda to foreigners?
Uganda is tough, I think, to foreigners, as long as you do the right thing at the right place and the right time. I think it's safe. It's even safe to the Ugandans. Yes.
Outside life, since you graduated and you decided to stay in Uganda, how have you been adapting now to the normal local Ugandan life?
Okay, like I said before, it's not easy. It's not easy to adapt life after school. For example, I can give an example of me. Myself, when I left school, when you leave school, most people maybe first go home. And or if you're, most especially if you're in your country, it's better to maneuver around, because when things get hard, you can go home. When things get hard, you have mom, dad, uncle, and you have relatives around who can help you out or bail you out in case of anything. But starting life in foreign country when you have no one but yourself has a lot of challenges, because sometimes you find you need help, but you're in a foreign country and you don't have a relative to look up to, or a parent, or so. I can put it in that way. You'll be very independent, and that's how I've been, very independent, knowing I have no one but myself in this country. So that's it.
How has your family been supporting you before you graduated and after graduating?
Before graduation, of course, my family have been supporting me financially in school fees and everything. They paid my school fees until I was done with campus. But after campus, I've been on my own, trying to hustle here and there to make it up here. That's why I say it needs a lot of patience, needs focus, vision to reach. Nothing is easy, but everything is possible. But nothing comes easily. You need to really hustle, because if we can count, I've hustled for 2 years since I left school. This is the second year. I've hustled for almost 2 years, and the journey has not been easy. 2 years may seem like, okay, it was just yesterday, but it has not been easy. It feels like you've hustled for long. It's not easy for anyone to hustle in a foreign country or to find life in a foreign country. Already very hard. A lot of people have lost it along the way and maybe gone back home, because first of all, COVID came, and so as long as you're patient, you pray, you're focused, there is something I'm going to achieve. Though it's going to be hard, a lot of blocks that are going to be along the way, but you reach there. Yes.
I like your optimism. You have been so optimistic so far, and from what I'm hearing from your story is you're such a girl, a lioness who just never take no for an answer, just never take no defeat for the defeat. Let me ask you, for those 2 years that you have spent on your own, How often do you communicate your challenges to your family? How often do you require for support from your family? And how supportive has your family been for you to stay away from the family for that while as a girl?
Actually, what I can say is, first of all, as I told you, I grew up to be someone who's very independent and someone who's very quiet. And like I said, the bond between me and my family was broken. So sometimes, even if when things come up, you be like, okay, how am I going to tell it to them? I'm not used to tell them problems. I'm not used to tell my mom, okay, ABC is happening. This has happened. This is happening. So I think in most cases I always try my level best to find solutions to solve them on my own. I don't always give them the burden of telling them ABC is happening.
So,
Yes.
speaking from the foreign student life, are you taking
Mm.
yourself as a burden to your parents after being away for a while?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not a bad student.
You're not a burden to them.
I don't think they feel me being a burden to them. The only thing that is the bond between my relationship between mom and daughter, dad and daughter, was broken.
If you had a chance to change something from your life, 15 years away from your country, away from your family, away from the people that you love, what would that thing be?
I can't change anything. Mhm. I think everything is the way. Okay, this is my destiny, so we can never change destiny. And I believe whatever I've gone through, whatever I've been through, has made me be the Veroy Nchillah you're seeing today, or you're hearing today, or you're talking to today. So if I changed anything, it wouldn't have made me richer, because one step leads to another. So if I removed one step, when you're going to, maybe, for example, it's a building, it has 8 floors. The first floor is the foundation for the second floor. You can't say you remove the first floor and you can't reach the second floor without the first floor. So everything, even if you've reached, everything is important in its own way, whether good or bad. If it's bad, it has been a lesson. If it's good, it has been a blessing. So everything, I think, I appreciate God. It has made me to be the kind of person I am today. I think a lot of people maybe may be looking up to me, because I'm sure there are a lot of girls, they'll be like, okay, she's a strong woman, she's a strong lady. Or so I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be strong. I wouldn't be independent. I wouldn't be whatever I am today if I had changed anything in my life. So I had to go through to reach up to this point.
Speaking of girls, I have been to Uganda, and one thing that I would notice, some girls would take themselves to do things that, well, are not good. For example, prostitution. How have you managed to stay away from those challenges?
Actually, like, you see, in that case, I would say some things are triggered or brought about depending on the environment a girl is in. Because when you talk about things of the bad activities or prostitution, whatever, some happen because of peer pressure. It can also happen due to the fact that, okay, the girl is in a foreign environment. There is no one maybe who's going to put a very keen eye on her. So she's free to do whatever she wants. And another thing, it's also the discipline imposed on someone. Taking a kid to school or educating a kid is not enough. It's not enough at all because they need discipline of life. I can give an example. From senior 1 to senior 4, I was in a Catholic school, a school that is under the church, the Catholic Church. I think it helped me build my spiritual, mental, and physical health all together, and whereby there are things that are condemned, like, as you said, prostitution, and meaning it's very hard to find someone from, I'm not saying they're not fair, but at least they impact discipline on students to be able to avoid that thing. Get my point? And another thing, when you talk about the peers, when a kid is already has discipline, and a kid is focused and they know what to do, in most cases they avoid the bad peer groups, because first of all, there are a lot of people around you that are going to tell you, you know what, these are the dangers of ABCD. Once you do this, you can land yourself into trouble. So when you're focused and the environment you're in is building you to become a good woman, to become someone, I think all those things can be avoided. And when you pray, because when you put God first, God gives you the wisdom in your thinking to know to differentiate between right and wrong. I think you've ever experienced this whereby you have instinct of this is wrong and this is right. A lot of things contribute to that, but maybe they have made me not fall into that category and have gone through the right path.
And indeed, we should be so grateful and thankful to God for guiding you to become a very wise and strong woman that you are today.
Yes.
Let me ask you now, are you proud of yourself 15 years away from your family, and now you just established your life and you're trying to make it in Uganda as a Tanzanian?
Yes, I'm proud of myself. Very proud of myself. Reason being, like I told you, growing up in a foreign country is not easy. So I'm someone who is very strong, someone who, like, I feel there is nothing that can really break me down. There is nothing that can pull me back. Like, I'm focused, disciplined, and I think I'm so proud of myself. Like I say, every step or every life you go through, it builds you and it teaches you, or sometimes it's a blessing. It depends. I've grown up to know myself that I'm strong and resilient. Like, nothing. I don't think there is anything that can break me down or can put me down, like, because I believe I have no one but myself.
As a resilient woman, there are those times when you feel so down. Who do you open yourself to? Who do you talk to whenever you feel like, you know what, I'm in Uganda, my family's away from me? Who do you talk to?
In such times, I talk to God, and I find peace in talking to God.
As we are wrapping up, school is done. What are you up to in Uganda?
Yeah. Right now in Uganda, I'm doing business. When you look at how things have become, the corona and everything, it was very hard actually to find a job, and I thought of self-employment. So I looked up for the opportunities around, and I was like, okay, maybe I could do this. And right now I'm happy and doing well. So I'm into business. Self-employed.
Self-employed, very resilient, wise, and beautiful woman. I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
I must say this, and I must tell you this, as I've always been telling you. You are such a bright girl, and now you are your own boss right now. And I cannot help it but insist to other girls and other boys who say there are no jobs or there are no what, and of which it's a global challenge. Many people are crying for a job. Many people are crying because there are no employment. True. But for you just looked for an opportunity and now you started your business, and you're saying it's going well. And I'm praying, may God help you so that you can stand on your own. And from Uganda, you extend it to Tanzania, to Congo, and several other countries.
Thank you.
And it's always my pleasure. And whenever you feel like there is something that we could do, that you could promote your business, please let me know. I'm very happy for you, and I'm always ready to do that, because you inspire.
Oh, thank you so much.
You inspire many people. You inspire me, because as a girl, there are so many challenges that you face, but you decided to stick to your focus. You started to stick to your visions, and now you're saying you're doing good. That's a great thing, and I'm once again telling you, very proud of you.
And actually, another thing that I can advise fellow girls, or anyone out there who's listening to me, what I can tell them is, in the world of today, you're not supposed to sit and wait for an opportunity to find you. It's easy. Move out. Look for opportunities yourself, and use it to match with the world. Because opportunities don't just find you there. They find you within other opportunities. Because I believe if I was there sitting, waiting to get a job, I wouldn't have gone as far as I've gone, looking up for other opportunities. You never know. Meanwhile, I'm doing this, I can get a bigger opportunity through whatever I'm doing. So it doesn't have to start big. I started small. You have to start from where you are, within where you are. You don't even have to move miles to be able to do something. Start from where you are. Start from wherever you are right now. Think about it. Sit down and think. Be like, okay, where am I fitting? What can I do? Start right now, because there is no right time to start something. The time is now.
The time is now. As Vera is concluding, the time is now. And I cannot help it but insist, the time is now. Start where you are, just like the way I'm starting my podcast. And I'm very happy for you, and thank you so very much for taking your time to talk to us, taking your time to share your story with us. And I'm very sure that your parents are so proud of you, because most of the girls who are given such freedom that you have been given, always we hear them ending in a very negative way. But you have been an inspiration. You have been a motivation to so many other people, not just girls, not just your family, but several other Ugandans and several other youth in the world. And I'm very sure for those people who are listening right now might be learning something from you. So let me ask you this before we conclude. For people who are going to study outside their countries of origin, foreign students, what advice would you tell them now?
What I can advise, first of all, the parents. The parents should really be close to their kids. They should follow up. Because right now, we're in the world of technology. So there are a lot of ways of following up how your kid is doing. Schools, are they in the right place? Is this the right school? How I want my kid to be, is this the right place? So a lot of ways. And what I can advise as kids who are going to other countries, I think it's better you do what has taken you there. There is no shortcut to life. Because we have seen a lot of Tanzanians are leaving Tanzania to go to China. And when they go to China, they want shortcuts. They find themselves into drugs. And they run into problems. It's the same as to any country here in Uganda. If I maybe they know, okay, can do here, can make quick money. There is no shortcut to life. If you're going to a country to study harder, focus on your goals, pray, and everything will fall into place at the right time. If you've gone to work in a country, do what has taken you there, because it feels very sad to see maybe a fellow citizen getting problems in another country, or maybe going to prison in another country because of crime and a lot of things like drugs, and they should continue following your shows, and they will learn. There is a lot to learn, by the way. So they should subscribe to your YouTube channel, and they should continue following more and more shows. And I believe in whatever I've talked today, someone out there has picked a lesson. Someone out there is blessed. Someone out there who was about to do something wrong is rethinking of doing it, and may God bless them all.
May God bless you too for taking your time to talk to us, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's so good of you, and thank you so much for your amazing story, and thank you so much for your time to talk to us. And I've been moved by your story. I've been inspired. I've been motivated, and I cannot help it but thank you once more for opening up. I'm very sure that we have learned, me and several other people who are listening to this podcast have learned a lot from your story. And for those people who are listening right now, please, I'm asking you to kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hassan Darey, Hassan Darey, at the same name in every other social media platforms. Hassan Darey, so that you can always be the first one to be notified whenever we have a new episode of this podcast. And today was Veroy, and another week there are going to be somebody else. And please kindly tell a friend to always listen to Life as a Foreign Student show, LAFS, because stories like Veroy's would be so motivating, so educating, and also entertaining.